Good afternoon. How is everyone? Thank you for turning out to watch the most talented woman in the history of motion pictures. This is the thing, I'm not given to declarative statements. I just, I don't pussyfoot around here. Barbara Stanwyck, the greatest actress of all time. Idalupino, the most talented woman in the history of motion pictures. I'm just gonna blurt these things out. I feel, I'm in Act 3 now of my life, and if you haven't earned the right to just make these kind of declarative statements, what good is it all, right? So, what I'm gonna leave behind, Eddie Muller said it, Barbara Stanwyck, Idalupino. But anyway, Idalupino is certainly, and I hate saying the most talented woman in the history of motion pictures, because, it's funny that Norman is here talking about Orson Welles, because that's the only corollary I can draw, is like Idalupino and Orson Welles, because they could do everything, right? They could act, they produced, they wrote, they directed, they did it all. But the movie that you're about to see, Womaninhiding, is a picture that Idalupino did not want to make. She, at this point in her career, she had decided, I really don't want to be an actress any longer, I want to be a filmmaker. And she had made a couple of films before this. And of course, she does not direct this movie, but as everybody who makes films in Hollywood and wants to make their films in Hollywood knows, you are chasing money. That's all you do, basically, is chase money to make the films that you want to make. This is how Ida chased the money. She kept starring in movies for various studios after she had decided she really wanted to be a producer and a director. So she made this picture for Universal. It is precisely the kind of movie that she wanted to get away from. It was kind of an arch melodrama, kind of an over-the-top melodrama. Doesn't mean she's not fantastic in it, of course, because she's incapable of giving a bad performance. But this is a movie that was made at Universal. She agreed to make the film because she thought two of her good friends were going to be in it. That would be Bruce Bennett and Ronald Reagan. But that didn't happen, because sometime before shooting started, and remember when this was around 1950, she had a party at her house. She was married to Collier Young, who they created a company together called the Filmmakers. That was the first time that expression had been heard. They kind of created that. And, it's funny, I'm standing here with this piece of paper in my hand, remembering, oh yeah, I was supposed to mention the donation drive for the film. Because see, it says, there's two words on this piece of paper. It says donation and drive. Because I twice have forgotten to mention this, and so I'm gonna get replaced as the head of the Film Noir Foundation if I don't say that merchandise table out there in the lobby, Darl Sparks, who mans that table for us, who is basically my right hand, she is doing a donation drive, so if you donate to the Film Noir Foundation, you can win some fabulous swag. Darl will explain it all to you. Now I can stop holding this piece of paper. Margaret, thank you very much. Okay, so Ronald Reagan crashed a party at Idalupino's house, and he started asking about how many communists are here at the party, and Ida said, this is not good. This was kind of tacky on Ronnie's part. And then Bruce Bennett didn't take the part anyway, and Howard-Duff replaced Ronald Reagan in the part in this film. And Idalupino hated Howard-Duff. See, there are people who know the story and they're like, what? How did that be? So first day on the set, Howard-Duff gives her a big box of roses, and it says, from Howard-Duff, even if you do hate me. And then the crew started sensing there was like a thing kind of happening here with these two, and sure enough, they ended up being husband and wife. They had a long life together, they had a TV show together, and I'd like to think that, how weird is it to imagine that if Ronald Reagan, also Ronald Reagan broke his leg in a charity softball game, and that prevented him from making the movie, and Ida was not too thrilled about it at that point. But he could not make the movie. But I said, you know, if he didn't break his leg and they actually made this movie together, does that mean that Ida Lupino could have been the first lady of the United States? It's like the only thing lacking in her resume, right? So, so the screenplay is by a man named Roy Huggins, who is a towering figure in American entertainment history. I know there are a lot of people here in Palm Springs who know who Roy Huggins is and revere the fact that he was arguably the most successful independent producer in the history of television, because he created shows like 77 Sunset Strip and Maverick, and The Fugitive was a Roy Huggins show. He really had an amazing impact on television. He was a disciple of Raymond Chandler. He copied Raymond Chandler when he started out, and then he wrote screenplays for 5 or 6 years in Hollywood before switching over to the small screen. The movie is directed by Michael Gordon, who his career was kind of cut short for 5 or 6 years because he was also somebody that was suspected of being a communist and was blacklisted. He is, and somebody correct me because I'm not positive on this, he is somehow related to the actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt. His grandfather, thank you very much. See, that's why I love these audiences. They know. That's just like when I'm on TCM and I kind of forget something and somebody in the darkness yells out the right words to me and I'm like, okay, good, now we can go on. So thank you very much for that, his grandfather. And of course he came back and later directed movies in the late 50s and was quite successful. But it's a wonderful, wonderful film. Stephen McNally is the heavy in this, and a young actress named Peggydow, who had just started making movies at Universal. She attended Northwestern University. One of those actresses who just like hit it. She came to Hollywood, she immediately got a contract, she made great movies at Universal. If you've seen Harvey with Jimmy Stewart, you know Peggydow is in that. She plays the adorable, wholesome nurse. She is not at all wholesome in this movie, I'm happy to say. But then she, after 3 or 4 years in the business, it looked like she was going to skyrocket to superstardom. She just retired and left. So this is the only bad girl, I think, on her resume. She plays in this film, and she's quite effective. So I'm glad you chose this way to spend your Saturday afternoon. You will not be disappointed. This is a lesser known, but absolutely fantastic suspense thriller. Here is Ida Lupino in Womaninhiding.